1,000 years ago, there were no burgers, no pizza, no fries, and definitely no supermarkets in America. There was no Coca-Cola, no Starbucks, not even bread made from wheat in most regions. Yet millions of people across North America survived, thrived, and built entire civilizations with food most modern Americans have never even tasted. And the strangest part? Some of the foods they ate back then are still secretly hiding on your dinner table today. If you could travel back to the year 1026 and walk across the land now called America, you wouldn't find a single American restaurant. Instead, every region had its own food culture, shaped by climate, rivers, forests, deserts, and migration. The people living in the icy north hunted seals and whales. In the southwest deserts, families grew crops under the burning sun. Deep in the forests of the east, communities farmed corn, while hunters tracked deer through thick wilderness. America wasn't one food culture, it was hundreds. The first shock for modern viewers would be the complete absence of European ingredients. No cows, no pigs, no chickens, no cheese, no butter, no pasta. Not even oranges didn't exist in North America at the time. Everything people ate came directly from the land around them. And somehow, these societies created diets that were often healthier and more sustainable than many modern diets today. One of the most important foods in ancient America was corn. But this wasn't the giant yellow corn Americans see at baseball games today. Indigenous communities spent thousands of years carefully transforming a wild grass called teosinte into maize. That process changed human history. Corn became the foundation of survival across entire civilizations across the continent. In massive farming communities near the Mississippi River, corn was life itself. Families planted it in carefully organized fields beside beans and squash. Together, these crops became known as the Three Sisters. Corn gave carbohydrates, beans provided protein, and squash added vitamins and nutrients. Without modern science, people had already discovered a perfectly balanced agricultural system. And the way they prepared corn was even more fascinating. Many communities soaked maize in alkaline water mixed with ash or lime in a process now called nixtamalization. It sounds complicated, but it unlocked critical nutrients inside the corn. Without it, humans can suffer deadly malnutrition. Ancient Americans figured this out centuries before Europeans understood nutrition at all. Farther north, food looked completely different. In the Arctic regions, indigenous peoples survived in one of the harshest climates on Earth. There were no farms buried under snow and ice. Instead, diets centered around seals, fish, whales, and caribou. Hunters risked their lives on frozen waters to feed entire villages. And surprisingly, these high-fat diets kept people alive and healthy in freezing conditions. Along the Pacific Northwest coast, enormous cedar forests and salmon-filled rivers created one of the richest food environments in the ancient world. Tribes harvested shellfish, hunted sea mammals, and caught gigantic salmon runs so large that early European explorers later described rivers appearing to move with fish. Salmon wasn't just food, it became religion, trade, and social power.
Meanwhile, in the deserts of the Southwest, survival required incredible innovation. Communities like the ancestors of the Pueblo peoples built irrigation systems to grow corn, beans, squash, and cotton in dry landscapes where survival seemed impossible. They also harvested prickly pear cactus fruits, agave, wild seeds, and desert herbs. Every drop of water mattered. Every harvest meant survival. But ancient Americans didn't just eat plants. Hunting was essential almost everywhere. Deer, elk, rabbits, wild turkey, ducks, and bison filled cooking fires across the continent. In the Great Plains, hunters developed sophisticated strategies to kill massive bison herds long before horses arrived from Europe. Entire communities worked together to drive bison into traps or over cliffs in coordinated hunts that required planning, teamwork, and courage. And then there was the food nobody expects: insects. Across many regions, people ate grasshoppers, ants, larvae, and crickets for protein. Today, that might sound shocking to some Americans, but insects were efficient, nutritious, and often easier to gather than large animals. In some places, roasted insects were considered delicacies. One of the biggest myths about ancient America is that food was always scarce. In reality, many indigenous societies created food surpluses large enough to support major cities. Around the year 1000, the city of Cahokia, near modern-day Illinois, may have had tens of thousands of residents, making it larger than London at the same time. Feeding that many people required advanced farming, trade, storage systems, and organized labor. Trade networks stretched across the continent, carrying salt, dried fish, shells, cacao, obsidian, and rare foods between distant cultures. Ancient America was far more connected than many people imagine. Food was also deeply spiritual. Hunting rituals honored animals. Harvest festivals celebrated crops. Some communities believed certain foods carried sacred power. Corn itself was often treated almost like a living relative rather than just a crop. Meals connected families to ancestors, seasons, and survival. Then came one of the greatest food exchanges in human history. Hundreds of years later, Europeans arrived carrying wheat, cattle, pigs, sugar, and disease. But the exchange went both ways. Ancient American foods transformed the entire planet. Corn, potatoes, tomatoes, chocolate, vanilla, and chili peppers all originated in the Americas before spreading worldwide.
Imagine Italian food without tomatoes, Irish history without potatoes, Swiss chocolate without cacao, Indian cuisine without chili peppers. The modern world's favorite foods exist because of ingredients first cultivated by indigenous Americans long before Columbus ever sailed across the Atlantic. But there's another twist. Some ancient American foods were actually healthier than modern processed diets. Many communities ate fresh vegetables, lean meats, nuts, berries, and whole grains without refined sugar or industrial oils. Obesity, diabetes, and heart disease were far rarer before modern processed food systems changed eating habits forever. Still, survival wasn't easy. Droughts could destroy crops, harsh winters brought starvation, hunters sometimes returned empty-handed, entire villages could suffer if food storage failed. Every meal depended on skill, weather, teamwork, and knowledge passed down through generations. And perhaps that's the most important thing modern audiences forget. Ancient Americans were not primitive survivors randomly searching for food. They were agricultural scientists, engineers, hunters, traders, and environmental experts who understood ecosystems in ways modern society is still trying to relearn today. So the next time you eat popcorn at a movie theater, chocolate candy on Halloween, or fries with ketchup at a fast food restaurant, remember this: parts of that meal were born from knowledge developed by indigenous Americans over thousands of years. The foods that shaped the modern world started long before America even existed. And maybe the real question isn't what Americans ate 1,000 years ago. Maybe the real question is this: after all our technology, fast food, and convenience, have we actually forgotten how to eat as wisely as they once did?